crisis areas. For example, I did walk with a group from the north of Israel, 50 people, and including some Israelis. And then we went also into the West Bank, and we were walking with a theater piece, what we called "We Refuse to Be Enemies," and where we told the stories of suicide bombers and of officers, of soldiers. And it was so amazing when people really come together, which they are enemies, open a space where a real deep listening can take place. And from this pilgrimage, many people made a big transformation in their life just by facing it. And then we see how often war is built by worldviews. And not by, if there is contact, then war has a chance to be solved. Of course, this needs to happen also on a much higher level, not only on a personal level. But there is a point where, especially we as Western people, we live in such we have enough, we have more than enough. And I feel very often that we fear to face the impact what we have on the other side. So, and when we, for example, walk or we travel to Colombia, to a peace community there of refugees who put their weapons down, and in every family, people were killed. And just to sit there, to listen to the stories, and then to notice, wow, this is connected with our comfort zone. This is a result of how we live here in the Western world. There I feel often there is fear, that people don't fear to open the heart because they feel guilty. And if we face this point, then a healing shift can happen. And it's not about guilt, it's about readiness to shift, to bring the shift inside of ourselves.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredibly important, because it's and that shift in ourselves will lead to different action. It leads us to make different choices. But the problem is, right now we are in systems that are not, that we aren't going to change overnight. And in some ways being in the West, there's also a willingness to live with paradox while doing this work, is really, or live with the fact that one is being, in a certain, to a certain level, hypocritical, and that is true, but that can be something that is like an itch that keeps one's heart open, actually, because there's a way of responding to that is by shutting down and saying, I can't see this, and I don't want to see it. And there's also one that a response that leads to greater humility and a willingness to stay open for the sake of all of this. And that, but our feeling guilty and blocking this is not something that is going to help anything, actually.
I noticed often that I don't know whether you know Hans de Boer. He wrote the book Blessed, in German gesegnete Unruhe, blessed. The word I don't know. But he speaks, the modern fascism is the indifference. And I noticed it, for example, when we were walking in the West Bank with the whole group, and we faced so much pain, so much fear in the Palestinian world. And for the Israelis walking with us, it was shaking them on a deep level, And there was a point where I noticed no one can really open the heart anymore. And they had compassion to the animals, but no more to the human beings. And then I noticed, okay, we only can open our heart if there is hope. So a deep challenge and a deep task to open visions where we can direct our consciousness in the direction of transformation and hope. And I feel it for myself. For example, when there was the Gaza war, and I had this question that I have to do something, but what? If you go there, what will you do? I admire all the medicine people, for example, who are going there and supporting the process. And we made, in the West Bank, then we invited Israelis and internationals and Palestinians, and we had a camp. And this was so touching, sitting together on the floor without any house above us, really asking what is to do. And there are so much heart-opening moments happened, yeah? Even when the bombs were flying above us, there was trust. And the trust was our common power of deep level of sharing and finding deeper sense in life, yeah.
Now that I think what you just said about hope is, I think, very, very profound, because it there, and it is related to that trust, to the trust in life itself.
Yes.
And its ultimate goodness, even no matter what, that something, that life itself is ultimately good, that